All right, we're going to get started with our media availabilities from the second Blue-Green Vacation Duel. We are joined by Timmy Hill, driver of the number 66 roofclaim.com VSI Racing Ford, who has raced his way into Sunday's Daytona 500. We will open up to questions for Timmy. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless microphone to you. Start here with Lewis, then go to Jenna, and then Jacob.
Louis Torres, Motorsports Tribune. Just discuss how big of a deal this is for the Carl Long team to bring this car into the Great American Race. And also, what did the crew react, especially from your spotter, knowing that Yaley was out?
First off, like I say, I'm really proud about what the car our team prepared for this race. They brought me a beautiful race car. They invested in a lot of money to rent a Roush Yates motor. Had great power all night long. Really felt like we had a car that could hang with the lead pack. And for us, you know, people don't really give us much of a shot. So to come into this race as an underdog, when nobody's really counting on, it feels really great to really prove a lot of people wrong. This team, they jumped off the wall, and celebration. I could hear their voices on the radio. And for me personally, you know, this is my 10th year in NASCAR. It's my very first time making this race. I attempted it one other time, and that ended in disappointment. So to make this race, it's really special for us.
Go to Jenna.
Jennifer, AP Timmy, I was just going to ask you that. I saw in 2017 you tried to make it and had an engine failure. You just mentioned this is your 10th year. Did you think that this would ever happen for you, or had you kind of thought maybe you'd never get a shot at the Daytona 500?
You know, the thought crossed my mind that I may never have a shot at this, you know. Coming to the Daytona 500 takes a lot of preparation, takes much more money to prepare a car to come here, let alone make the race. So, you know, the thought crossed my mind with the new Cup car coming next year, if we didn't put this deal together this year, that as a non-charter car, I may never have a shot at this. So this could very well be my last chance at it. So I'm very happy that it ended up with us making this race. It makes for a non-charter team, it's impossible. We'll have to hold up. Mm-hmm.
Go to Jacob.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport. Timmy, for you, you've branched into team ownership now in the truck series, so you know, and are a smaller team in that series. So I know you can probably put yourself in a little bit more than most drivers. What Carl goes through trying to put together a operation to contend in a big race like this. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yes, yeah. You know, with Carl Long, he's brought me into his camp, and I work in his garage for 4 years now, and learned so much, and I thought I knew it all. So here I go start my own team, and gosh, I didn't know it all. So I learned so much last year starting my own truck team, going pretty much full time this year with our truck team. I feel like it's really made me a better driver. I understand components. You know, basically, for those who don't know, I only have one employee that works on my trucks. I'm very hands-on, and you know, we finished top 5 with one full-time employee last year. So with that being said, it's neat to bring that over to Carl's camp. You know, it makes me be more involved than I already was, and I'm really appreciative of all the experience. And Carl, like I said, he gives me a lot of opportunities, and I can't thank him enough for that.
Go to Bruce.
Bruce Meyer with Speed Sport. How long is it going to take to get the smile off your face?
Well,
and at what point do you kind of move on to celebrating to preparing for Sunday?
I don't know if the smile's gonna come off my face. Look, as a kid, everybody who's a race car driver has a dream of driving this stuff. You want to run the Daytona 500. I'm fortunate enough where my car is very capable of running competitively in this race. So I feel like we're not just here to participate. We're here to race. So. With that being said, you know, we'll prepare as much as we can. We got a small amount of damage on the car to fix, but other than that, this car is ready to go for the race, and I feel like we have a really good shot at competing well tomorrow or Sunday's race. Yep.
Do we have any additional questions for Timmy? Over here on the far left side, in the back to Jacob. Right there. Oh, sorry.
Mark Crystal. How do you use that? Frontstretch.com. First of all, congratulations on making the Daytona 500.
Thank you.
How does this race give you momentum heading into Saturday's race where you will race in the Xfinity Series?
It's I tell you what, it makes things feel a lot better. You know, it's going to be stressful on Saturday as well. There's 4 extra Xfinity cars. We're in a position where our car is not locked in on points, but this group is really prepared. An awesome Toyota Supra for us. In that car, we do have a Joe Gibbs racing engines, so that car will be just as strong, if not stronger. That car ran top 5 here with less than 10 to go in the July Daytona race. So, with that being said, I feel like our Saturday car for the Xfinity is going to be a really good piece, and just the excitement alone that will carry definitely into that race.
All right, and then you mentioned the nice payday and the momentum it gives MBM making the 500. How much momentum, or how much does it benefit the team as well that the misfortune of Daniel Suarez missing the 500 help this organization as it fights for the top open spot this year?
Yeah, I know for us, speaking on our behalf, I know for my truck team, all my credit cards right now are maxed out. I know Carl's are the same way. It takes a lot of money to get here, to buy licenses, to buy motors, without any money coming in, to go through the winter. For our team personally, it makes a big difference. You know, everybody thinks we're going to make this huge payday, but we're just going to pay off a lot of our debts. So with that being said, you know, for those guys, they're fortunate they got a lot of money coming in. I'm much more grateful that we made this race.
Go back to Jacob and then to Dan.
Timmy, I don't think maybe a lot of people realize, I think it was your second trip ever here to Daytona in an Xfinity car. You went out and ran 7th, knowing that you've got a Roush Yates motor underneath you that, you know, you can go in and you're locked in now. Can you race on Sunday? Can you go up and mix it up if the opportunity's there?
Yeah, like I said, you know, with this being my 10th season, I've had a little bit of every kind of race car. I've been fortunate the last few times I've been here, I've had a really strong car, especially in Xfinity. I've been here with some really weak cars where I can barely hang the draft and just cross my fingers and hope a bunch of cars wreck out. But the race cars I have here this weekend, they're race cars that can compete, run well. And for me personally, I can take these race cars and do a lot of moves that I really couldn't do early in my career with some of the race cars that weren't quite up to snuff. So with that being said, no, coming here with the Roush motor in our Cup car, a Gibbs motor in our Xfinity car, it's a game changer for us.
Go to Dan.
Dan Gelson, AP. Timmy, you said if you didn't make it, the team might fold?
It was, you know, we weren't going to fold, no, but it's tough climbing out of this hole. You know, it's like I said, to come here, we spent a lot of money on this motor. You know, for those who don't know, Carl does have his own motor department, and they have a lot of dedicated people that work on those. And you know, we're still working on getting the power plant and everything closer to the competition, but it makes it tough. You know, these guys had to really dig deep to risk, you know, spending money on a motor to get me to this race in hopes to make this race. You know, we weren't going to fold up, but it'd be hard to climb out of it.
I mean, it's enough pressure, I guess, to try and race your way into the race anyway, but what's it like when the weight of the company is kind of on your performance?
You know, it's, you know, unfortunately for me, it's not my first time. You know, I feel like Carl and I have a lot of respect for each other in this race team, and I've had to bail his race team out. You know, there's probably 100 races I had to make with a car that probably shouldn't make the race. In Xfinity, I make a lot of races on time, and at the same time, Carl, he's really bailed me out of my career where I really didn't have a whole lot of opportunities. He put me in the race car. So with that being said, yeah, I had a lot of weight on my shoulders for this race, but I felt like I was prepared for the pressure, and it wasn't going to be a problem. I knew we had to make this race.
Any final questions for Timmy? All right, Timmy, congratulations. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, everybody.
Get cleared out.
Okay, perfect.
All right, we're going to continue with our post-race media availabilities from the second Blue-Green Vacation Duel. We are joined by the crew chief of the race-winning car, which was the number 24 Axalta Color of the Year Chevrolet. We have Chad Knaus here. We will open it up to questions. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless microphone to you. We'll start with Jacob.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport, Chad right in the middle. First off, how's it feel to be in here with, well, he's not in here yet, but a victory with somebody other than Jimmy finally for the first time?
Man, it just feels good to be in here again. How's that? To be honest with you. Yeah, how about that? That's a unique situation for me. Well, he did it last year, right? So, Jimmy did without me. So, it's good to be here. Obviously, very, very proud of everybody at Hendrick Motorsports. For me emotionally, it's pretty cool for sure.
What's it been like for you working with William and developing him compared to where you and Jimmy started your relationship back in the early 2000s?
Oh gosh, that's a completely different. We couldn't be much different, right? Obviously, Jimmy and I were coming up and trying to prove ourselves at the same time. We both knew that was our opportunity. If we blew it, we probably weren't going to be in racing too much longer, or at least doing those respective roles. So, to be working here with William and watching him mature and watching him just get the experience and everything that he's got going on and the confidence to go out there and race with those guys has been a pleasure, to be honest with you. With Jimmy, we were just digging and clawing and scratching for everything we could, and this has been a lot of fun. It's been a very calculated path, and hopefully we can continue to go down this road.
We're also now joined by the race-winning driver of the number 24 Axalta Color of the Year Chevrolet, William Byron. We'll continue with questions.
All right, good job, William.
We'll go to Jerry.
You don't clap in the media center?
No bias.
Man, all right. You guys need to lighten up.
Jerry Jordan, kickingethetires.net. First off, for you, Chad, on that, as he pulled out, I guess with 2 laps to go, or were you nervous of that? Did you guys make that call? What was the strategy there?
No, oddly enough, William and I had a discussion pre-race, and he basically told me where he wanted to be at the end of the race, and he kind of ended up right about there. And so he knew what he felt like he needed to do, and that was all on him. He doesn't need me in his ear to teach him how to do that stuff. He knows what he's got going on.
And William, for you, so you get points for this race, but I guess it's not technically an official win, but does it still feel good to be in victory lane and getting a trophy?
Oh yeah, I think we're going to use this momentum as it should be. I feel like we didn't look into this, and we've built something over the last year. Working with Chad, he's allowed me to grow up a lot, and I think he's held me accountable for a lot of things that are really good. And I just feel comfortable walking into the shop. I think that took me really till this year, this off season, to walk in and just feel just like a race car driver and comfortable. And that's a lot of credit to him and Tyler and Brandon, all the guys on the team. So we just went out there and raced. That's what he told me to do before the race. He said race it. So.
Going to go to Bruce and then to the far left side of the room.
Bruce Martin with Speed Sport. One for Chad, one for William. Chad, when he won, came across the line, you kind of gave that, you weren't exuberant, but it was almost kind of like, yeah. Was that more like a validation of what you've been waiting to see him do?
Yeah. No, man. Whenever you win, you're excited, right? So I don't know if it's validation. I think validation will be when we go out there and we're battling consistently for wins and top fives. That's what we're after, right? It's real easy to make the checkered flag the goal in this sport, and that's just a part of the journey, right? So the goal is to really get the team working correctly, get William, the confidence level and performing at the level he needs to. That's the thing. So that right there, that was just a little bit of happiness that we got a flag.
And William, in 1993, just as you did tonight by getting your first win in one of the Daytona qualifying races, in 1993, Jeff Gordon's first win came in one of these qualifying races. So maybe you're kind of following the same pattern as him in the 24
I guess I just need to
car.
win 93 more races, probably.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Go to the far left side of the room.
Yeah, time is on your side for sure. Mine, not so much.
Yeah, you got to stick around.
Hey, William, Chase with Rotoballer. Wanted to know, you're big in the iRacing community. You came up on iRacing. Now with all the changes in NASCAR, we're seeing a lot of iRacing coming up. Does this add any more pressure on you to get a win for the community, just to show some of these young drivers that are coming up in the same situation you were, that that's definitely possible to cover over into the Cup Series?
Yeah, my deal with iRacing is I love having something to do during the week that involves what I try to work on, and it's just fun. It's fun to get on there with your buddies and race. And ironically, I was telling Chad I crashed out of every Daytona race this week, and that I guess was, law of averages kind of worked out tonight. But I think that it was just it's fun to race on there, and I meet a lot of good race car drivers. There's definitely a difference in racing a real car. There's a lot of adrenaline that goes into it, and I think that Chad's helping me with that and kind of channeling that throughout a race.
Go to Luis.
Luis Torres, Motorsports Tribune. This question goes to Chad. Since you've been around with Hendrick for a real long time, how does it feel to be a part of the winning 24 team, knowing your background that you always wanted to be part of that 24 team on top of the pit box?
Yeah, it's I've spoken about that a lot, and the 24 is something that when they started the 24 team in Atlanta in '92, I was there for that first race with Jeff. I wasn't part of the team, but I was there, and I was like, man, I'd really like to be a part of that team. So, as a 20-year-old young man, seeing that team grow and wanting to be crew chief of that car back then, and to finally get the opportunity to work with William and all of our partners and be a part of the 24 cars, really a dream come true. So it's a lot of fun. I carry the 24 like a badge of honor. I really do. I think to be a part of this 24 team and the heritage that it's had through the years with Ray Evernham and Brian Weitzel and Robbie Loomis, and you talk to the people that were on the team and the sponsors that we've had, and obviously what Jeff was able to do with it. There's a lot of pride with that 2-4.
Go to Seth, Hill, and then Holly.
Seth Egger, Kicking Tires. William, although you personally have crashed out on iRacing this week, your team has been doing well, and now you're here in victory lane. Can you carry that momentum into Sunday?
Yeah, I was pissed that my team finished second. That was a bummer, but no, I mean, it's just, it's great momentum for us with this win tonight. And I feel like, honestly, it just gives confidence to me to make those bold moves late in the race. And, I feel like you have to put yourself in those positions to really know what it's going to feel like. And Chad and I talked a lot about that going down here for this week, just racing every lap of the week. We almost raced all the laps last weekend, but this was a really critical race for me to learn and kind of perfect it a little bit. So still a long way to go. When you look at guys like Denny or Joey out there, I think they're very aggressive at these races, and that's who you're going to have to beat.
You come to the far right to Hill.
William Hill Overton, WNDB Radio. Congratulations on a nice win tonight. But two-part question. Looking at your relative strength, well, first of all, what did you feel behind the wheel with the 550 tapered spacer versus how it felt last year? A little more speed, I guess, sucking up perhaps. And also, secondly, how do you feel you compare now power-wise to the Fords?
That's two really good questions. I think first with the different package, we've had this one since Talladega last April, but I feel like there are definitely a lot bigger runs. The cars are more fun to drive. You're not so worried about losing it on entry and kind of feeling lazy and washing around. They're kind of more in the track when you're making a move. So I think that's fun as a driver. As far as our car goes, I think we learned a lot tonight about the speed of it. The conditions were really favorable, but what I also noticed being in the second duel was there was a lot of rubber on the racetrack. So I think that'll be similar to the 500, and just felt really good about the car, especially the run we were able to generate to be able to get to, like, I guess, Kevin on the inside. That was pretty impressive. So we'll see what happens.
Do you have anything additional for our race winning team? Go back to Jacob and then to the far left.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport. William, you talked earlier about finally feeling comfortable in the shop and comfortable working with the team. Now you've got a trophy in your pocket. Do you feel like you're here in your third year at the Cup level? Do you finally, feel like you've found a place, or is there still work to do before you can say, hey, I'm finally here, I've made it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about working with Chad and feeling like I can go to him with any question I have and give him an honest answer on any answer that he needs. So that's a big step, is the relationship here, because there's really no other relationship out there that really, besides you and your guys and your crew chief. So I think that's where the confidence for me comes from. And I thought, what he said about it being a journey, we don't just stop here. This is just kind of a result that we can put up on the board now in the shop and say, okay, now we actually have something to show for what we actually think we've been able to do lately.
Go to Tom.
Tom Bowles, front stretch. William, we saw Fords work together really well in the first race. Chevys worked great together in this race. Do you feel like, there's more pressure than ever heading into the 500 for manufacturers to stick together and drivers from the same manufacturer to stick together heading down the stretch?
No, I mean, I don't. What you see is not forced. I think there were times last year when we were kind of figuring it out, and we might have been a little bit too in line and a little bit too conservative with it. But what you saw tonight was just a matter of happening to work with guys that are your friends and guys that are of the same manufacturer towards the same goal. It's kind of like that little bit of confidence that you have to not always look over your shoulder and think that guy's going to hang out to dry. So it's not forced, but it's going to happen because those guys are your teammates.
Anything further? Dustin?
Dustin Long, NBC Sports, and William, I came in late, so if you've answered this, forgive me. How does one know when to make their move when they're in that position late in the race? You were in that fourth. Obviously, you had the line of Chevys behind you. Was it a case that you're instigating that to pull out, or are you waiting for the push from the 48 and the 1 and kind of jumping in front of them just to carry them? How do you kind of manage that? And was that at the time that you were thinking with 3 laps to go?
It's just based on when that run comes. I think that in an ideal world, everyone would wait till 1 to go and fan out, just because where we were was a good points position to finish the stage or the race. So it would have been good to have 6 points or whatever it was, but I had kind of not been paying attention and not been pushing as aggressively. Once the 18 got off the top lane and it was single file, I wasn't pushing the guy in front of me as hard to make that line go. So a run just kind of luckily formed right there, and I figured if I didn't take it, Kurt was going to. So it might have been a little too early, but it just was kind of how it worked out. Mm-hmm.
All right, gentlemen, congratulations and good luck on Sunday.
Thanks. You.
Both of you with Claire this way.
Claire, please. She said please.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, it's all good.
Right here.